Moo and hello everybody. Welcome to the Pingtron. I am Brent Robinson and let's just start. I am in person with Chris Greenland. Chris, what are you drinking?
Well, you know damn well what I'm drinking. I'm drinking a couple of things actually. I'm trying this Groovy Juicy IPA. It's a non-alc. Tried that recently a couple weeks ago, and it was so good I decided to pick up a 6-pack or 8-pack. Also have an Athletic Brewing Run Wild IPA that I'm tearing through. And when Brent's not looking, I am gonna tear into. I do have a Rouleur Doper Juicy IPA. Just so I'm not totally.
Perfect. And that is Sean Fogenberg. Sean, what are you drinking?
I thought that maybe we'd be on the Recovery Miller Lights, so I thought I'd get on a similar train, and I got a Pacifico.
Oh, nice. I'll go grab one real quick. Hang on. I'll catch up to you. When Brent's not looking.
Because if they judge people who don't.
Not trying to do it right in front of you. That's all I'm saying.
As he well knows, when we were over for dinner this week, my wife had wine and I didn't say anything. And she's had wine this whole week, which is really like a secret to putting up with Brent, let's be honest.
Has she been boring with you this whole time?
No.
No? Okay.
No. So, all right. And that is also Steve Pritchard. Steve, what are you drinking?
I'm on a Brewgood Hazy Peach IPA, which I think I was on last time I was on the pod, which means it's probably been sat in the fridge for a while.
Sounds tasty.
Yeah, it is good. I do like a peach beer. It's nice.
That sounds good.
Sounds really good. And we also have with us Steph at Jen. Steph, what are you drinking?
I had my recovery shake already done, and I have a can of hot cocoa.
Cocoa, love it. Great. And I'm also on the Athletic Brewing IPA and the Juicy Groovy IPA. So that is what I will be having. And
is the Juicy Groovy IPA infused with juice, or?
I think that's just the name of it. A Juicy IPA is just just tropical pineapple. I don't know. We had one. I didn't really taste super like a like it didn't taste like a what's the name of the one with the grapefruits in it? A Radler. It didn't taste like that.
Yeah.
It's just sort of a little bit maybe fruitier sort of IPA, I guess.
It does have natural pineapple flavoring
Yeah.
listed as the ingredients.
Yeah.
So yeah, a bit actually juice infused.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's very good.
Through the dry period, Brent, do you have any favorites among the non-alcoholic beverages?
You know, the one that I just tried since I got down here is the Sierra Nevada hop water, which is it's not beer technically. It's just sort of like hop flavored sparkling water. Surprisingly delicious and refreshing. Like when it's warm and it's really cold, it's like when it's warm out and the drink is really cold, it's very, very refreshing. I quite like that. Other than that, I got those Olay kind of fake mocktails are pretty good. Like something a little different that's not non-alc beer. I find the non-alc beer sometimes like it's good like when you're thirsty after a ride like this, but as just a drink like when you're around, it's too sweet almost. I don't know. It's something they have to do like when they de-alcoholize it, it kind of gets sweet. And so I don't, unless I'm just recovering like this and it's refreshing, but just to hang out after, I think the mocktails are a little nicer. I don't know. De-alc wine is bad. All bad. There's no such. I'll tell you that right now.
The reds, at least, you could probably get there with a white because you have to chill it so much.
Maybe.
And same thing with the hop water, the hoppy sparkling waters, like hot day,
they got
cold beverage. Like you can kind of get to like an ice cold light beer space.
Yeah,
but a red wine de-alc is just terrible.
Yeah. And
talking about swapping out drinks, this week's HSRL could be a bike swap. Excitingly.
Beat me to it.
You ripped it right out of under.
This week's HSRL is it's 2 laps, right? Of chain chopper or 3?
Yeah.
It is 2
laps. Chain chopper in McCurry. Yes, it features so again, HSRL is time through segments, and the segments on this one
There are
Our
3 of them.
oh, I had this
We've
up in
got
Facebook.
Castle and the Castle and Temple comms, and then the country sprint.
And it's
at the end
the
of that.
reverse temple com, so it's the side that goes up and you go across the bridges right before going to the line. So it's the kind of the side from the castle rather than from the fishing village.
Very good. And so no one's raced this yet, right?
No. But yeah, so Castle KOM, 2.5K at 2%. That, I mean, you're gonna want to be on something fast for that. But then you do have the Temple Reverse, 1.9K at 3.5%. I think that Steve is right that depending on whether you are with a group, it may make sense to swap over to gravel something. So usually for something like this, I would switch to the specialized crux, which is one of the lighter, it's a cross bike, but one of the lighter gravelly bikes. Then you descend for another 7K or so of basically false flat downhill through the country sprint reverse, which is one of the shortest sprints in the game, like 10 seconds, 150 meters. So for that one, you want to be on something fast and start actually before the sprint, considerably before the sprint to get a good time. I think that because the gravel rolling resistance has been adjusted, if you're in a group, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense to do a bike swap.
I think that's 100% right. Especially if you've already, I mean, 2 of the segments are uphill, so you definitely don't want to go anything heavier than Tron. I wouldn't suggest. I think you definitely want to be on. Like, you don't want to go full climber because they're not. The castle's too flat to be full climber. It's Tron for sure, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really
So-
hard because you could, if it was finishing at the top of Templecom, I'd almost say this is a really cool tail gunning strategy, right? You do your bike change to then tail gun up to the back of the group to then sit with them, and you get that 15 seconds back in the draft. But that descent's so long, you're not holding anyone. Like those guys on the non-gravel bikes are all getting you back really easily on that descent, aren't they? So
if you could swap faster at the bottom, you could try to put 10 seconds into the bottom. But the problem is it takes forever to swap bikes at the bottom. I've tried that, and you roll like for 500 meters into the dirt.
Not with the Zwift play controllers, you can break.
Oh, that's true. If you have plays, you might be able to break. That's true.
I with my plays, I could not break for one of our ladder races. So was doing 6 watts a kilo stationary in the pen, swearing a lot.
It's a feature, not a bug, according to Zwift.
We're gonna have to start a new segment that is, what did my Zwift plays cause me grief this week?
Yeah. How did they violate my trust this week?
I mean, I think you probably, in terms of other strategy points, you probably want to try and, well, I guess it's all broken up. So I would think the C's will stay in front of the B's into Temple, well into Temple.
I mean, probably into Temple on the second lap. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the B's are going to make up 5 minutes in 7K.
No.
So maybe on the descents, if there's actually, they'll gobble them up.
If I look at the live scoring, a couple of the C's stayed ahead of the front B group for the whole race, apparently.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that last week the C's tended to the front group of C's tended not to get caught as well.
Yeah, the B spot us right on the line in the race. Craig and I did, and I was 3rd group on the road, and we were not trying for the last from that last segment to the line. Just
Well, I'd be genuinely interested from a strategy perspective if if sitting up as a C and catching those fast Bs on that second lap through those two segments on both country sprint and castle sprint wouldn't actually work out. I guess it depends how many are at the front of you to get those finish points, but man, you'll be
Yeah.
a lot faster.
So that is true, but the way that the scoring works, if there are even decently sized, if there's even a decently sized front group, so last week I actually won 2 and got like third on a maybe even won, yeah, 1-2 and got third on a third one, but was first out of the front group, and then finished 6th and only got third overall, because it turns out that those finish points actually do mean quite a bit.
Yeah. Okay, so there you go. So if it's basically more than 5, probably not then, eh? If that front group
I
is
think the key tactic is going to be tail gunning the first climb. Craig did that on the Zwift Com reverse, hilly reverse last week, and he dropped right back off and just won that by seconds, just by letting the guys catch him up and then sitting on their wheels over the top. Like it's if you've got the power to do that, and that's quite a drafty climb, like it's really worth it. I did something similar in Dirt Racing Series in the week with Titans, just dropped off the back, like a couple of seconds, sprinted back up, and then sat through in Titans and came second on the com, finishing
Nice.
about 5th on the road. So it's
Yeah, this one actually is one of the easier to do that, I think. It's not, it is also one of the mildly dangerous ones because it's not, there's no steep bit for you to push to catch back up on right at the beginning, so that if the group is moving a little quick, you're gonna have to put out, you are gonna have to sprint back on probably. But once you're back in that group, they will tow you up.
Yep, all pretty much all the way except for maybe that little cobbly bit at the top. Yeah, I remember Mark John in one of these ones, and I thought I hit the timing right, and I was like, "Oh, dude, you're way off the back," and he came right into the back of the group, and I was like, "Damn it!" And I just missed the timing. It was like 4th wheel by the time we hit the line. Yeah, I think that's probably about it. Which is the finish line for this? Is it the
I think it's country sprint reverse.
Yeah, because on Zwift Power it says that there were 3 primes, so
yeah, so condition reverse finish. Okay, so it's a pretty
So I'm
much just
actually
flat sprintish.
I think all of the sprints count because there's a sprint on the lead-in. Or am I misreading this? Yeah, I think there's a sprint on the lead-in. So you start at the pens, you go through the little village onsen and then downhill through the sprint. That is the lead-in. So that like at the end of the first 2K, you do go through the sprint. I'm not sure whether that sprint counts.
if just checking up on Marjoleine's posts in the latter discords, I think the one on the lead-in after 2.2K counts the first lap, and probably
And then
it's
the
maybe at
finish,
the finish, and then
the finish only
the-
counts for finish
the-
points.
yeah.
Yeah, you
if,
can't you can't do a time segment on the finish. I think that breaks the game.
yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Good. All right, so sir, Chris and I probably won't be doing that this weekend. We got something else going on. We'll talk about it later, but
A different chain jumper.
yeah,
A way
Yeah.
longer one.
a little longer, but it's got dirt in it though, so there you go. All right, that will bring us to HBR. Her Beginner Racing is TikTok.
TikTok.
The classic.
Yep. So Her Beginner Racing Scratch Race. There are It is D's only, and those D's are broken down to 3 different segments. It is did I say scratch race? And then TikTok is basically through the desert, up over the Col du Cattle Springs, down into the ocean tunnels, up, and then up the little bridge into the desert, and then finish at the Desert Arch.
19K net flat.
Net,
Yeah, I think it's the as we say every time, it's the 3 segments that you're not going to win the race on, but you're definitely going to lose the race on. So the little climb out the desert, the little climb out of the ocean tunnels, and then that little bit of gravel as you go back towards the desert. The rolling resistance is going to go up, bump your watts up slightly, you won't get dropped. But if you're daydreaming, you may get dropped there. I have done this in all 3 of those locations, and cursed my life.
Yep, and then unload your big sprint at the end. Just hold the group as long as you can and try and sprint. That's about it. Your most best, most a little earlier, so your best all-around bike, but best aero bike at your higher level.
Fastest thing you got.
Fastest thing you got, yeah. And that will bring us to Climber's Gambit, which is
hang on,
which is it's Octobon.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's
I think you could see Chris's panicked face as he was looking on his phone.
Oh, shit, they're just gonna call on me.
Which is Brent carrying on completely obliviously because he sat next to him and couldn't see this like he normally would on the Zoom call, as Chris looked increasingly worried at his phone. So anyway, yeah, Climber's Gambit, Chris. Hopefully I filled enough for you to find the link.
What madness we had ahead of us. Okay, so it is Innsbruck Reverse this weekend. So we're, as a reminder, Herd Climbers Gambit is our hill climb series where only the time on the climb of the week counts. So for this weekend, it is part of our Go Long series highlighting the longest climbs that Zwift has to offer. This weekend, it is Innsbruck Reverse. I have no idea on the stats on this climb. I just know it's terrible.
It is 5.8K at 6.9%.
Yeah, but it's a lot harder than that.
Yeah.
It's actually like 3K at 12% and 3K at 0%, really, is how it feels. It's very steppy.
Yeah, you got some double 12, 14 ramps in there. It's terrible. I'm glad I'm otherwise committed this week. I don't have to do it. But good luck to everybody else out there. I think it's a climbing bike. I don't know what times are for this, like 20 minutes, right?
So obviously, as always, depends on your level, but A's are gonna go sub 20. So like Tatum's done a 16:09, Matt DeFreitas a 16:30.
Dan Pedrosa's done a 15:45.
Yeah, like super fast.
I was in that race.
Okay.
I remember. I was like, what the hell?
Fast B's are going to be right around 20. So Brent's gone just sub 20. Chris, you've done a 21. Fast C's probably in the 22, 23, well, probably 23-ish minute range. And then Fast D's 26.
I think
so.
a little bit slower than that. So I did 26:13 in the Dirt Racing Series recently, which had the draft on.
Okay.
That was 3 and a bit.
I did it in Climbers Gambit about 1.5 months ago. Lower C at 28.5 minutes. So
okay.
Yeah, 15 to 30.
I think the draft really makes a difference on both the Innsbruck climbs, actually, because you don't get any benefit on those flat bits on this one, and the other way around is quite draftable, isn't it? So
yeah,
could be a little bit slower, but yeah, it's an FTP test climb, isn't it? Like
essentially, yeah.
Although there is time to be made by being a little bit harder on the steeper bits and then a little bit easier on the flatter bits, especially early. I find it's really like steppy early, right? There's a real steep bit, and then there's almost like a downhill. I think.
Yeah, so from about 1K in to about 2.5K in, there is it's basically around 10% for most of that. including bits that go up to around 14. But then there is a like couple hundred meters of essentially flat. Another step. I mean, this is one with four segments that are essentially flat. So for every hard kick, there is something that, and in between some of them, there are bits that feel flat, even though you're still going at 6%. When you've just been climbing at 14, that 6%, you do end up actually probably backing off a little more than you probably should. Yeah.
This is probably, that's usually my downfall on this one, is I like go right down to like 200 watts on the flats instead of 250 watts. Anyway, it's always a good measure.
Yeah.
I don't think I believe the KOM time on Strava, 9 minutes 14. I think that's a bit weird.
That might have been someone with a Makita attached to the back of their tire.
Yeah, I found these sometimes these Strava segments hilarious to see what people do.
I love this. It's 9:14 at 189 watts. So somebody who weighed like a kilogram.
There you go. Maybe someday we'll do Around the Horn. We'll do craziest Strava segment times. Not today. We haven't done our research because we're big on our research here at the Pictron. Yeah. That'll bring us to, I think, herd of mountain goats would normally be next. And what did we decide about this?
But we don't know.
We don't know. I know there was some chatter about some short-term stuff, so it might just be vent top again for fun. I don't know.
I think it's on Mount Fuji, isn't it, this week?
Well, it would be good if they could put the mountain goats in the climb portals. That would
It
be
would.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we need to get in touch with a certain ex-herder about whether or not that can become possible.
I feel that is not the impediment. I'm sure he would also put events in there if he was able to. I don't think that's the holdup.
No, I don't think so, but you know, lean on him.
Well, we would have seen it in the official the Swift version of Climber's Gambit probably by now.
Yeah.
It could be.
Yeah, it'll debut there first, guarantee it.
Yeah.
I guarantee some routing problem as part of events or something. Yeah. Anyway, that will bring us to, well, unless Matt, if you're listening, post in the comments. Let us know what your mountain goats is. All right, that will bring us to Stampede.
Which has anyone figured out the theme yet?
A couple of people have posted in the comments that I think they have, so I think some people figured it out. I know Alan Richardson's got it, so preview post.
And for the theme, which we will still not necessarily reveal, this is actually the beginning of the. It's both the first race in the series and also the first number in the series that will help you figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and it is so it's 2K on the fan flats. It's
it is it on the fan flats? It's on Bell Lap.
Sorry. Oh, Bell Lap. Sorry, I changed that one. One lap of Bell Lap for 2 kilometers. I knew it was 2K. Pardon me. So yeah, so Bell Lap is the normal forward direction, right?
Yeah, so it's the one that you head out of the pens straight through you take a right out of the pens, go straight through the lap banner, and right around the hairpin through the rollers. So it's that direction rather than going up the cobbly climb side.
Okay, so you climb up there and then down the cobbles, a few more left turns and finish the banner. So go hard.
Yeah, a 2K time trial should take most of us somewhere in the 3-ish minute range. 3+. There's going to be some people who can get under 3, I would assume. That's a 40 kph average. I'm shooting for sub 3. It's going to be horrible. This is one of the best ways to make yourself puke.
3 would be 45 kph.
3 is 40 kph for 2 kilometers.
Oh, okay.
So, let me see. What are some? So this is not from a standing start. This is just like, and it's in a group, but this is about, this is about going as hard as you can. So you might be able to go approximately group speed. The fastest group times I'm seeing are in that 2:20-ish range.
Those are all going to be draft though.
Those are definitely in the draft. But so 30 miles an hour is a 225.
Okay.
So that's 48, 49 kph.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's kind of like the same strategy as like a kilo, right? Like, because especially because that hilly rolly bit is early, I think it's as hard as you can to the top of that hill and then hold on till you get to the finish. Get up to speed.
Yeah, the get up to speed is really important. I do think this is one where you maybe not full sprint from the pens, but you're sprinting essentially.
Yep. Like I know I'd probably be trying to get between 500 and 600 watts and then hold on for dear life.
I mean, and that's not just for a minute or for, for a few seconds there. That's until you're up to speed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd be trying to hold it to the top of that hill.
Right. Yeah. No, but I'm saying like even to start, I'm probably going 600 or 700 until I'm up to 40 kph.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to gauge with those hills.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I'll be very curious to hear what people do. I'm sorry, I'm going to miss it. I'm actually, this is what I'm genuinely a little bummed I'm going to miss, but because I do love these. I guess I could always just like go into, I guess the one fun thing is you could always just go into Bell Lap and try it and see how fast you can go.
Yeah.
Because you get your lap times, right? So
the difference is that it's not the lap time that's going to matter. So Stampede is from the time that it's counted from the time that the flag drops, right? So it counts your time getting up to speed from the pen to get to the lap banner as well. And I think that portion is going to be a big part of the separator between people.
agreed. Yeah. You do get shot out, but you got to go. Good. Fastest aero bike.
Absolutely. TT. Yep. Fastest
TT
bike.
TT aero bike. Absolutely. Yeah. So you're looking at CADX. There's some that are pretty fast. The CADX, I think, is considered the fastest still, but if you just like feel cooler on a Spesh, what's the Spesh TT bike?
Shiv, right?
Shiv S-Works is pretty fast too.
On a Shiv with rainbow discs.
Rainbow discs is good. Technically, the DT Swiss Arc is faster. You can put on the tri-spoke. I don't know if they fixed it or not. I wouldn't recommend.
They fixed it, but it didn't get fixed to be one of the fastest things.
Which they did tell us in advance would be the case. At least it's not. Did I tell you I rode that in a race and was like, why am I so tired? That was bad. All right. And that will bring us to Bullseye.
Which is also on Bell Lap.
See what
Steve just went and reloaded his first. He's wearing a shirt that's like Space Invaders or something.
GC on Space Invaders, but he's also reloaded the beer. I want to hear about this new beer. Oh, it's a Thatcher's. Okay.
Yeah, it's a cider. There we go.
Okay. Sorry.
If in doubt, there's a cider in the fridge. It's great.
Fair enough. All right, carry on.
All right, Bullseye Bullseye is Fan Flats? Is Fan, no,
No.
Bullseye is the next.
Also Bell Lab.
For those of you at home, I'm operating with like an iPad and no computer today, so that's
Planes keep flying over.
sorry about that. Anyway,
So it is 5 laps, 9 sprints. I never know what ends up counting in Bullseye. Just, make sure you get to the sprints first.
yeah, well, it'll be the sprint segment on the first lap, but not the banner on the first lap. Whatever the counting mechanism is, it doesn't let us count because it's not like a real lap on that first one. So it's not.
Except it is on this.
Yeah,
Because
because you go through the banner. The other way, it's probably isn't because you haven't done a full lap.
There's still something I feel like on Crit City that messes that up.
Okay.
Is my recollection because it says it's 5 laps and 9 sprints.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure it's the first lap banner that doesn't count.
Yeah, that's always the one that doesn't hit.
Yeah. And so other than that, I mean, sprint for the line, sit down, sprint for the line. Chris is now recovering with the Miller Lite.
Cheers.
He now has no shame about hiding from it. Wings it right in front of my face.
Did he wave it under your nose as well?
Not quite. Sorry, I'm fully hydrated. I'm good. Yeah, so I don't. Other than that, it's hard. Those 9 sprint.
Yeah, they're all 1K apart essentially, which
Yep.
that's a brutal way to race. This is one of the best Bullseye courses, I think, because it really does. It tires everyone out. The sprints get less and less sprinty throughout the race.
It ends up being about every minute, don't they? It's
Yeah.
Yeah, every kilometer, it's basically. So every minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Chris is just wandering around in the background of frame at the moment, just making it look like some chap had just randomly walked into.
There was an orange over there that was rotting and it looked like an apple. I was like, where did the apple come from? I don't have an apple tree, but it was an orange that was slightly colored. So,
Do you have an orange tree?
our neighbors do, and it reaches over the fence. So effectively, we have half of an orange tree, but we don't have to maintain it.
Steve, I'm not sure you were here yet when Brent was marveling at the variety of types of trees and wow, this is like paradise. There's avocado trees and lemon trees and orange trees, and it's like, yeah, that sounds like a California backyard.
I mean, Brent gets 8 foot of snow and occasionally has to operate out of the garage where they sell your kidneys. So I mean, let's be honest, I've got a hedge outside that probably impresses him. Anyway, come for the great Zwift chat.
The Pigtron. Come for the bike talk, stay for the fruit talk.
Stay for the roasting of Canadians.
I think that's all our.
I think we've run out of Zwift chat now, haven't we? Or we've run out of sensible herd racing chat.
That's
have
all
we covered for the event?
That's all for the week. So let's go round the horn. Oh, let's talk about ZRL. Sean, you raced ZRL finale?
Yeah, sounds like Steph did as well. It was a really interesting course choice. I mean, the previous rounds, great. They were things that we'd done before. This was one that I found a really interesting idea for the finale. It was the Glasgow crit, both forward and then reverse. So 5 laps forward with some FTS and FAL points thrown in, not on every lap, thankfully. And then with I think they were separated by about 30 minutes. It might have been a little bit more. You then did the same race backwards. So it was Glasgow reverse for 5 laps with FAL points at the top of the kicker, and no sprint points.
But only on lap 2 and 4.
Again, laps
Yeah.
2 and 4 it was laps
Oh.
2 and 4 for both races.
Yeah, because on that reverse one, there's only the kicker reverse because there isn't a sprint segment. Although for whatever reason, if you do a race, you get the green sprint jersey, even though there's no segment. I don't know what it's doing in Zwift, but you get a nice green jersey after your race.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say they're busy building the Mount Fuji routes. They have time to clean up those kind of bugs when they put you on
Yeah.
a reverse Glasgow.
I did really love so great idea as a setup, and it was really fun to race that in reverse. I love that course forward, especially the kicker. But in reverse, the kicker is a much more extended effort. And I think they were smart to do it as FAL points only on that. I think that for those that don't know, the kicker reverse, you come out through the tent, like past the chapel or the church, go along that straight, and then there's a turn left that goes up the hill. The segment doesn't actually start until you are up that hill, and then you have the rolly bits, turn left, go downhill a little bit, turn right, and then go up the hill into the line. So it would be interesting as FTS, but for FAL, that actually incentivizes people to go hard on that little kicker at the start, like before the line. So you do end up with the group stretching out, and then how hard does the group chase on that rolling bit? There's a lot more strategy that comes into it, and I think it would make a really great bullseye course for that reason.
Still no Tron bike on that church though, huh?
No, the Church of Tron.
Ah, seems like a miss.
I'm just gonna check. I know my Mustangs team raced it. I raced the first round of the final, the scratch race on Rolling Islands,
Yeah.
which was fine. You can definitely feel the break thinned out the fields a bit. Did you guys felt that in your races or stuff like that? But
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think there were teams that in our race, there was only one team that had six riders for this finale. I think there was a drop off in motivation. We're now later into we're getting into nice weather time, and so people are less on Zwift. And the Zwift games happened in the interim, and there were definitely a lot of upgrades, which made people ineligible for the teams that they had been racing for. So, yeah, definitely some issues with the ZRL kind of playoffs in terms of getting, a good number of people. And for this race, then you end up seeing all the complaints about people who upgraded or went over cat limits because it's a 24-minute race and people are finally fully opening the taps. And then they get popped, and it's well, if you had that ability, you probably shouldn't have been sandbagging in your league.
Yeah, it was a bit weird because I didn't do the scratch race, but the TTT was also a bit weird because in our semifinals we had like 10, 11 teams, but somehow they broke it up for the TTT so that we were with teams of other divisions. It was a bit weird because we weren't racing everybody in our normal division. Yeah. But yeah, and that last one was just bonkers. But indeed, we had like, I think maybe there were a couple of teams in our final race that had 6, but most of them had like 3, 4, 5-ish people. It weren't full squads, indeed.
I mean, I like that they enforce that the teams in the finals need to be people who raced for the teams in the season. I think that is valid to like have some validity to these results, but I don't know. I mean, I understand they're doing things and they're making schedules to accommodate other events, but that gap was definitely a detriment, I think, to this ZRL final.
It was significant. I just wish I had gotten a couple more races in with your team, Sean, because I had upgraded and then had time enough to downgrade.
Yeah.
In that span, so I could have ridden the finals. But how many races did I need to do? Like
3 in. Yeah, it would have had to be 3 in 1 series.
Yeah, I think I tried. I completed one. I DNF'd due to technical in a second. So there's no way.
Yeah.
But
my team, the Mustangs, got second in the America's Open B1 Shield. And if that makes any sense to you, good on you. I have no idea.
Yeah, our team, the Herd of Fools, got, I think, first place in their Shield final as well. So that's the upper, the.
Yeah.
Never mind. It's just something.
Zelda shit right there. I don't know.
It's good that they're like trying to do categorization in ways that compress the competition into like teams that are competitive against each other. That's good. But the nomenclature is opaque in my opinion.
It did. Regardless, it did make for fun racing. I
Yeah.
Regardless of all of the limitations and problems with, team sizes and all of that, I will say that this finale was very fun and the kind of dumb shit that Herd would do. like we're
Right.
like let's just get out there. I think the only difference is we would have had it where every time you pass a banner, it's FAL and FTS, and you're just like absolutely hammering and killing yourself.
If you're in a team,
one thing, I will probably find a team in EMEA East because I was in the West with the Fools. But for the normal season, I did one of the seasons, I think Series 2 with them. That was around 8 o'clock-ish my time, 8 p.m. But the final, they switched it up. That first race started at 20 minutes to 9 p.m. and the second race started at 10 minutes past 9. So I finished that second race at 20 to 10 p.m. at night. So yeah, not the best way. I was that second. The first race went okay, but I was mid-ish pack. But on the second race, I just got popped on the first lap. And
how long was it between? Was it when you finished the first race or when you started the second one?
For me, it was like 6 minutes or something like that. We had like, it was not clear at the beginning, but said, these teams have 35 minutes for the season. I was thinking, is that 35 minutes to finish the race? And then we have a recovery, but it was 34 minutes between the start of race 1, part 1, and race 2. So you had to finish the race, and then if you done it fast, you had more recovery. But I think I had like 6 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like I had about 9 in between the 2 races. Yeah, fun stuff.
always credit to people trying new things. We'll give them credit for that for sure. And it sounds like mostly, other than the timing parts, it kind of worked. So that's good. Good.
Yeah, it was a nice concept. It's just because I'm lowish, still lowish C. There isn't much I can do than giving our team a couple of finish points. But yeah, it is what it is.
That's the nature of racing. So I always think they should just every 6 months randomize the thresholds on the categories like a bit, like move them up like 0.3, 0.4, or whatever, so that people who are at the bottom are at the top, people at the top are at the bottom, and stuff like that. I think that would actually be healthy for people.
I wouldn't argue with that. I think the hard part is then like organizing your series around, like, so if you have HSRL where you're trying to run a series where you want to do a series of races in a category, then halfway through you get switched between what categories you can join, like that. That's rough.
Yes, they would need to publish the dates in advance.
Correct.
So people could like structure their
Plan.
series around
Yeah.
the flip.
I know TFC did something like that series that like still the category enforcement, I think, but they split it up the categories for like lower Ds, higher Ds and such. I don't know the thresholds, but that's like if you're like lower to mids in your category, you could be competitive in that series then rather than now being a lower C, just being part of the race. And
Well,
I've really enjoyed the dirt racing series for this reason. Like, it's based on metals, which seems a bit of a better categorization method. Like, I think because dirt are organizing it, the fields are quite big. I quite like the rule that they basically don't lock how many people can be in the race from your team, but only the first 4 riders count. So like all of you can join, have a race, do a race on the Tuesday night, have some fun. And some races, like, I've contributed points because the Brook course suits me more. Some races I've not contributed points because the course suits other people better. Like, it just everyone rocks up, tries the best. Like, often you're like fighting your teammates for that 4th place, but that's fun, isn't it? So it's yeah, I think the metal series that Dirt are doing is really cool at the moment.
I might give that a go when it's back. I think it's probably like ZRL coming to an end, and it's coming back like winter next year, probably, I suspect, or whatever.
I don't know, I think we've got 1 or 2 weeks left. Yeah.
Is that all dirt race? That's all the Zwift Racing.app scores, basically? Is that how they use the categorization?
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, exactly that. Don't ask me any questions about how that works because it's really confusing. But it seems to give slightly better categories.
Yeah. Well, and it is more results based, so it's better. Just if you're going to use it off the threshold stuff that Zwift uses, I think if you adjust around, it would also stop some of the gamesmanship and the categorization, right? Because if you know, like, it's not always about being at this number indefinitely, right? If you know at the end of 3 months that it's changing to some other number, it's like, we'll just race harder. Especially if they didn't tell you what it was going to be. So, anyway, other around the horn, or is that all we're going to talk about? Real life around the horn?
Go for it.
MeatSpace around the horn, I shouldn't say real. Zwift is very real. Very hard. So, yep, Chris and I went road today. Chris took me on a tour around San Diego for 3 hours, 70 some odd K.
Yeah, weather was terrible. I mean, you guys can see in the background, it's cloudy.
What Chris calls terrible weather, I call like, you better like that or you don't get to ride in Alberta. But
long sleeve, long pants. But yeah, leisurely 70 some odd K around San Diego, up some hills, down some hills.
Just a nice little warm-up ride. Shake
out. Yeah, we got BWR on Sunday, which is about 120 some odd K, half of which, more than half, is to call it gravel, I think is doing gravel a disservice. It's a lot of chunky nonsense, rock gardens, single track, sand, but it's good fun. I mean, we're not racing to win. We're just racing to get around and not get hurt. But it's really cool that Brent made the trip down here. I think, you know, reflecting back, like I've made some bike trips to go hang out with people that I never would have A, met, or B, had the fitness to go and complete, like doing Lemon with the Finnies. Like before Zwift, there's no way I could do that. Like a 2-hour climb, are you kidding me? Like BWR just as an event. I think that's kind of a testament to what Zwift as a fitness platform has opened up in this time compressed world that we all live in, but also making these connections and tricking Brent to make a trip down into a foreign country and come hang out here. I think it speaks volumes to that. Thoughts?
Yeah, I know lots of people.
Go
Like I know lots of others with people get together. I know in Europe they get together all the time and stuff too. So definitely do recommend these big events. Sort of are a good way to maybe just structure a bit, right? Because sometimes it's hard to plan. But if you all say let's target this event 6 months easier, it makes the travel and the planning of a thing a little easier. Just everyone has a target they can aim at instead of just some random weekend.
I think like,
Yeah.
the events also help, I think, take out some of the anxiety. Like we've joked about it before we started recording, right? Like we are a bunch of people who've met playing a computer game from the internet, and we don't actually know that we're all not murderers. So I'm pretty sure we've all had like that chat with our partners of like, yeah, I'm just going into my shed to like chat to this person online that like I sit on a turbo trainer and race against, and yeah, that's a bit weird. And now I'm going to go meet them in a random location. And I think if you're doing a big event, like certainly if I was talking to my partner and said to them like, I'm doing a big event, I'm going to meet these people that I think are really cool. I've met on the internet, I've done a lot of biking with, like, but it's a big event. There's loads of people there. I think that's a bit of an easier sell than like just going to go randomly meet this person. I mean, fair play. I know a load of the herd people have like met up and done like summer events of themselves that they've organized. But yeah, like I know there's lots of get-togethers, but also like it's like as you say, I think it's something to point at and probably like reassures people that we speak to that like we're not all murderers, which is exactly what a murderer would say, isn't it? But
Yeah, there's just a few of us, Steve.
You're hearing that it comes out of your
you
mouth.
haven't proven anything yet.
Well, my wife and I came over to Chris's place for dinner on last Sunday night. We got in and we're all still here. So,
well, we
So
haven't
far.
seen your wife yet. So, how does it work with like, you know, federal law? You've crossed the border. Like, are we all okay?
they didn't stop us. Canada and US are pretty cozy. So, you know, I gotta say, like, I rented a bike and it's a Trek SL6 checkpoint or Trek Checkpoint XL6, and it's got the E-tap on it. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
So like virtual shifting, but in real life.
Yep. It works
MeatSpace.
about the same too.
MeatSpace
Like,
virtual shifting.
Yeah, I think that's the reason maybe because I have the virtual shifting here, but on my Canyon I have electronic shifting, and it's quite similar indeed. It's a bit more tapping in real life, but yeah, it's a bit the same. Yeah.
Does yours have the Shimano or the SRAM?
I have a SRAM, yeah.
This is a SRAM tap, and it is slick, boy. Especially with the one by, because it's just like right for down the cassette, left for up the cassette, and it gets pretty intuitive, awful fast. There's only about 2 times I went to do the old inside shift. I'm like, oh, that's not the right button.
Well, I still have a compact, but it's just for switching the front cock. It's just tapping both shifters at the same time as shifting your front cock. But like you said, it's the same like the virtual shifting. Left is shifting down and right is shifting up. It's the same thing. So.
And I had gravel tires on. I don't know. They're pretty. wouldn't say they're particularly aggressive gravel tires. Like they're definitely not full slicks. They're not like GP 4000s or anything like that, but they're, they got some tread to them. But like I say, riding around on the roads, I didn't feel like I was giving up much, I don't know. Just didn't feel like, it didn't feel slow, right? It felt like riding a road bike.
So
Yeah,
I don't-
tires are really good now. So I run like 32s, which are pretty slick. And I kind of come from the old school of like you had 19 mil tires on your time trial bike in the late 1990s, and like because that was super fast, and like it's just I think you have to be going like 35 kph plus average speed to even notice the difference. And you're not doing that most of the time on gravel and that kind of things unless you're super quick. So
yeah, my first bike that I was really riding around was definitely 18 mil tires at 120 psi.
Ooh.
I
That's like
remember that.
80s road bike. Did it have down tube shifters?
It was a 90s specialized LA, like one of the first carbon bikes.
Okay.
But
Oh, nice. Yeah, my first bike was a Reynolds 531 steel tubing down tube shifters. I remember upgrading to a Shimano group set that had STI shifters in the levers, and having to like put little bits of plastic where the down tube shifters were to like adapt to that thing, and that was just game changing. But
so what setups are you running? You've got this fancy bike with the fancy shifting. What kind of tires are you running? Like, you know, you want
They're,
32s,
I
36s?
think
What are you?
they're like 38s.
38s, okay.
also
Okay.
like without dissing Chris too much, we know Brent's faster than you. So have you filled his tires with water or anything like that just to slow him down a bit? Like, he'll only
Well,
find out if he gets a puncture. So
yeah, no, while I went and grabbed that last beer, I inserted several strategic pinholes where the sealant will not seal. So that'll be a
the other thing
slowly.
is if you just go and get 250 of the crimps you put over the end of your cables, then you could just put those in his seat post or something like that, and he'll just have the world's most annoying rattle for the whole ride.
Well, the funny thing is, so the checkpoint has like this internal toolbox thing, and they put like a little puncture kit and stuff in there. So it's all tubeless with sealant and stuff. But if it punctures, there's a chance you got to like put a plug in it and all that. And they put a little plug kit inside this little thing on the down tube. Anyway, and that's where like one of the bottle cage bosses is and everything else. I've got about, I don't know, 1 kilometer from my hotel this morning, and that whole thing, the whole cover and the bottle and my water bottle just flew off in the middle of the road. I'm like, what? Okay, stop, go back. I'm like, I guess that didn't get locked in properly at the rental place. So anyway, got that put back on. No other problems the rest of the ride.
Have you got anything to cope with from going from Canada to the States? So like if Steph and I did a similar thing and we hired a bike, just to confuse people, Europe and Britain put the brakes the other way around.
Oh,
I never remember which is which. So you have European style and British style of brakes that are the other way around. So yeah, you're going to
You're
lock
right.
up to an emergency stop.
the bottom line of 99% of that stuff is the US is so much bigger than Canada that whatever the US does, Canada does. Like other than the metric stuff, which even the metric stuff, like all our vehicles have an imperial second monitor, or you can reset. If it's digital display, you just push the imperial button. It's all pretty much the same, except for here. Like if you want like the list of things that Canada does that are weird, who here knows what a Robertson screw is? A Robertson screw head? It's a square screw head, right? So a Phillips is like little like
Okay.
cross star, and there's like a slotted, and then you can get like Torx ones are like little stars. In Canada, we have what's called a Robertson screw, and it's a square, and it's perfect. It works amazingly. It's 100% better than a Phillips screw head. But because a Canadian invented it, no other country in the entire world uses it but Canada.
I'm sure I have seen one of those. This is when we first moved to this house. There was there was 2 sheds, generous like big cupboards down the side of the house. There's about a like 1 meter passage down the side of the house. Now, if you were designing the doors for this shed, you would make the length of the door less than a meter, so you could, open the door and get in. No, these doors were probably 6 foot long because we buy wood in feet in the UK, not in meters, because that would make sense. So I had to basically take the hinges off these doors to get in the shed to start taking them down. The hinges themselves were held on. If you could find 7 different ways for the 6 holes that like affix this hinge to the wood, there were 7 different screws. So I had a flathead screwdriver, something that I did with an Allen key, a Torx bolt, a Phillips head, like probably one of these things that I've like just drilled out in the end of it. Like, yeah. So I think I've come across one of those thanks to the previous owner of this house.
There you go. Maybe he was a Canadian.
He was an artist, is what the neighbors say to us a lot, which I think is code for like just bodged stuff.
Yeah. So
Uh,
that was
I did-
right for rear. Are you sorry? I gotta check out the UK. It's not right for rear, left for front on the brakes. Or
I'm
is that-
trying to think which way round it is because I know I think it is right for rear. It'll be the opposite of what Steph says. I do the wrong way around sometimes.
Yeah, I think it's the wrong way around because for me, left side is front brake and right side is rear brake. So in Britain, it should be then the other way around, I think.
Really? That's crazy. I know it's arbitrary and it really shouldn't matter, but right for rear, it's so straightforward.
Next, you'll find out the derailleur's on the other side of the bike or something. We don't do that, just to be clear.
I do. So I do kind of. I am interested. So Steve, you said something about like, no offense, Chris, but Brent will be faster than you. I am not sure that will be the case on a gravel ride like this because fitness is only part of it.
Yes.
Being able to navigate these rock gardens and like I'm not sure how much Chris rides
Brent will crash
off-road,
faster than you, is what we're finding out.
Oh, I think you're underestimating that Chris is definitely a better bike handler than me. We already got it once today on one descent, and he was definitely. I was like, I am not going that fast down this. Now he knows that road a bit, but still, I was like, need to survive.
I think timing and scoring will bear out that we finish pretty much exactly the same.
I do think that is entirely likely to happen.
Well, and that's the cool thing about these kind of rides, right? Like, it's the journey, not the race. That kind of like classic bullshit motivational sign that will probably be up during the race. But actually, there's just something nice about riding bikes together and finishing at the same time. Last weekend I decided to ride back from my parents' house in Oxfordshire, and my mum was like, "Oh, cool, I'll join you." And we rode like 75 k's together to a station, had a beer, had chatted a lot, rode bikes, had fun, sat in the sunshine. That's what it's all about, really, isn't it? So it's what we don't get on Zwift.
Yep.
I think that is the perfect note to say thank you to Sean Fogenberg, thank you to Steve Pritchard, thank you to Steph Etjen, and extra special thank you to Chris Greenland for hosting me and riding me around today. Enjoy your races, whether they be on Zwift or outdoor in the sun with a friend. And moo and good night.